What's up, guys? We're back with another quarantine edition of our flat design. Once again, we're working on shape building and we're working on incorporating both shadows, midtones, and highlights into our designs. Today, in the spirit of personal protection, I thought we would create a face mask, much like the one that I'm using right now, but it's more going to look like more one of those like almost like a surgical mask or an N95. But let's take a look and see if we can't create something like this. Let's just go jump on into our Gravit Designer. And we're going to just make, once again, this undefined canvas here, hit create. And we'll just jump right in by making a big oval. This will make this will be the base of our face mask here. Then we'll create another long, skinny ellipse on one side and see if we can't sort of center this in. And then we'll just alt drag this across. Once again, hold down shift. When we do it, we should be able to center this pretty easily. If we don't see any indication that we're centered, let's just sort of make this a bit darker. I'm going to create a little group of these guys, Control G, and that way I grab one, and then we'll just hold down shift and we'll select the next one, the one in the middle there, and we'll just center it both horizontally and vertically. So there we go. Looks like we got that right. Is that right? That looks about right. Well, okay. Anyways, we'll just go ahead and just subtract. All right, cool. All right, so we have our little mask here. I think that's about right. Let's go ahead and go to Modify, Path, Convert to Path, so we don't have to deal with all that rigmarole of all the different stuff here. And I'll just make this, I'll go ahead and make this white, and I will put the borders on. I'll make the borders pretty thick, maybe like 8 or so. Right, and I'll go ahead and hit this little button here to make the joins round, right? Rounded off joins, rounded off ends as well, right? So kind of a thick stroke here. I'll put the stroke on the outside as well, just so you know we don't have to deal with all that. Anyway, so we'll go over here to Modify. We'll go over here to Path. We'll go to Expand, Shrink. And let's go ahead and minus 30. See if that works. Okay, oops. Well, first let's go to Modify. Let's go to Edit, and it's going to duplicate. And what we'll do with this duplicate is we'll actually take this duplicate and we'll make this sort of a light blue and even sort of like pull the opacity down some, just to make this sort of surgical blue here, right? Once again, go to Modify, Path, Expand, Shrink, negative 30. There we go. That's good. Cool. All right, so we have this right here. I'll make the stroke here just a little bit smaller, maybe like 6 or so. And that'll just kind of give us sort of a more intricate deal. Once things get smaller, you want the stroke to be a little bit thinner, just so you don't like kind of clogging up with a sort of thick stroke here. I'm going to get in real close and get my circle tool. Just make sure it's set to be just a solid with no stroke. Once again, circle tool here. Hold down shift while I make a little circle. I'll make it black, and I'll see if I can't position it somewhere like as close to kind of like the center between these two lines as I can. I'm going to scroll out a little bit here and just sort of alt drag this down. Hold on shift while I do it. Once again, trying to aim for that little point in between those two. Hold on alt, drag these two across, select both, hold down shift so they're all lined up. And we have a little points of contact for our face mask straps. In this case, we'll just create these little strings or sort of like seemingly kind of elastic straps by just creating a stroke with our pen tools. Let's grab our pen, and I'm just going to click once on this circle here and just sort of create a series of loops. And once again, you want to try to like make this as smooth as possible without any really sharp angles. So I'll just click right there. That looks about right. And I'll just thicken this up to about 8 and make sure that the ends are, oops. Make sure that the ends of the strokes are rounded just in case they show up, which they shouldn't. And we'll just click on our move tool here and get in close and just double check. That's good. All right, I'll right click on, I'll go to edit, I'll go to duplicate. Right click on this and go to transform, flip horizontal, and this sort of shift drag this across until it lines up with these other two openings here. And now we've got our little mask. Okay, cool. So now most of the masks, if you'll notice, they tend to have these little pleats in them, so it's hard to see for this one, but you can kind of see it sort of unfolds and folds back and whatnot. The pleats just help somehow. But anyways, so we're going to create this little series of pleats here by creating a series of just strokes in the middle there, and we'll sort of click on this little blue contraption here and just get our pen tool, and we'll get in close, and we will just click on here. Actually, what we'll do first is let me just click on this and just grab my pen tool real quick and just center a line straight down the middle there, and I'll make this red just so I know to leave later. So I'm going to make this red, and I might make it a bit thinner too. All right, maybe 2 or so. All right, so with that done, now what we can do is we can grab our move tool, click off, grab our pen tool here, and just come over this way. We need that little reference in the center, so what we're going to do is we're just going to click on the edge here and then kind of go up a little bit and just make sure we're on the center. And as soon as we're on the center, we'll just sort of click and we'll hold down, oops, we'll click and we'll hold down Shift after we start dragging. That way it's going to have its sort of highest point right there in the center. And we should be able to see a little line that's going to lock us in to be on the same level as the other line there too. And so once again, we have this little, kind of regular curve there that sort of has its highest point in the very center there. And I'll just pull this up to, say, for instance, 6, like the outside of this one was. Maybe 5 would be nice. Cool. And then what we'll do is we'll just grab our move tool here. I can get rid of this red line in the center. Just delete that. And then what we can do is just grab this stroke here, just alt drag it down, and we can kind of bend this by kind of pulling it down like that. And we can go down here to the bottom, and we can sort of drag this down some more and have it be a little more open at the bottom there. And this right here, I want this to be a little bit more thin because it's a thinner area of the mask. I'm going to alt drag it from the side here. It should. All right, good. This should be a little bit thinner too. Right, I'm just going to click on these guys. I'm going to select my little stroke options and make sure the ends are rounded just so they don't kind of have little corners poking out there. That looks about right. That's good. Cool. Awesome. All right, neat. All right, so what we'll want to do now is we want to scroll out here and just sort of move off to the side. I'm going to grab my pen tool, and I'm going to draw a little curve like this. It's just kind of a regular curve. We're going to have this sort of show the concavity of the mask, or at least the sort of convexity of the mask here. Basically, what we wanted to do is we wanted to sort of like kind of come in from the side like so, round off this sort of large part here, and then so we can kind of like pull it down to the bottom here and just sort of like have that sort of cover in the side. So we have this sort of roundness implied by virtue of that curve there. I'll change this to black. Into the black here. Take the borders off. The borders be 0. And then I'll just grab my move tool, click on the outer white space there, and just Control D to duplicate it, Control Shift up to make it to the top. Hold down Shift, grab this little shape here, and subtract. Rather, intersect. And what we can do here is we can here take, once again, our borders to 0, and put our opacity down to like 20 or so. And then what we'll do is over here we're going to modify path and then convert to path. All right, good. We'll make a little highlight on the side here, and this is mostly just going to show up on the blue here. So we'll do the same things if we're going to make this a little bit more extreme, a little bit sharper. So I'm going to take my pen tool, I'll get it a little closer here, and sort of drag this down some. And I'll just take my pen tool, I'll just start really close to the side and sort of like kind of real sharply. And I might make a little like a little peak right here, and then sort of continue the little curve just to kind of give it the sense the pleat is doing something to the light here. And we'll just click on that, doesn't matter the outside of it. And once again, we'll just grab our move tool, click on our main mask, Control D, Control Shift up to duplicate it, bring it to the top. Shift, click on the little white space there, and go over here to our shape builder tool and press intersect. Once again, stroke 0, opacity 20. And yeah, cool, we have a little highlight here. We might add a little highlight here by creating this little shape in the middle. I want there to be like sort of a highlight on the tip of the mask here. So I'm just going to click. Before I'm going to click, and I'm not going to let go, right? So make sure that when you make this little shape here, you start at the top and just drag. I'm going to drag this to the right, or left rather. And then when I move to the next little spot, it's going to give myself this little curve on the top there too. So let me just move this. And then down at the bottom, I'll just curve this outwards here. And once I click at the top, it should round it off there. All right, cool. Once again, 0 for my stroke and 20 for my highlight, or for my fill. Boop. All right, cool. V, click off. Right, that's the fun little highlight there. And then for our shadows, we'll just create some more shadows for the mask here. I'm going to get my pen tool, and I'm just going to click on this pleat here. And I'm just going to click once on the pleat. I'm just going to see if I can't create this little round shape that's sort of going to match up with the shadow we've got so far. And so what we'll do is we'll just sort of click up here, and we'll see if we can't follow this pleat as best we can. If it's not exact, it's not going to be a big deal. Because what we'll do is we'll change this once again, 0 for the stroke, black for the fill, make the opacity around 20 or so, and then we'll have to take our move tool and click on these two and just combine those two. Once again, go over here to modify, go here to path, go to convert to path, right? So this compound shape becomes a path. But the same thing for the next two pleats here. We'll just click P on the keyboard, and what we'll do is we'll just start here at the base, and we can like bring this up a little bit further out just to show like the sort of extremity of these shadows that are happening here. I'm gonna see if I can't make this as close to sort of like a curved, you know, kind of union between these two shapes here. And once again, hit the pleat, manipulate as much as you can to fit in with that pleat there. And once again, we'll just V on the keyboard, click on these two, hold down Shift, and we'll just go to our Unite. And once again, we will go to Modify, Path, and Convert to Path. Last one right here, we'll just finish this up by hitting our, last one over here, and so we'll just click over there and sort of move this up. And we'll just click out to move along with this pleat there. V on the keyboard, click on that, and we'll unite these two right here. And once again, modify, path, go to path. All right, cool. All right, and so there we have our little face mask. I think it's pretty fun. All right, so if you wanted to right now, well, of course, this is going to be required, so this is not if you don't want to, but in this case, I want you guys to add a little background to it. So once again, get a rectangle here. Draw a little rectangle, see if you can't center as much as you can. And what we'll do is we will change the fill to something like a green, or maybe even like we could try a pink here. Let's try a pink, and let's make it a little less saturated here. Okay, that's fun. Whatever you want to do as far as the color goes. This is kind of fun, very contrasting. I like this. All right, cool. So this is this mask here. I think this is pretty fun. And we'll just kind of center this to the bottom, to the middle of this mask here. How are we doing? There we go. That's cool. All right, let's see if we can't export this with no problems. File, export, JPEG, call it mask. Mask 2. Let's see what happens. Hey, it looks good. All right, cool. All right, very neat. Okay, so once again, this was just a exercise in building your shapes, making sure you're keeping in mind both your highlights, your shadows, and your midtones, right? So we can add a little more detail to it. It doesn't take a whole lot of time, just takes just a little bit of forethought and making sure that you're thinking about where the light's falling and all this other stuff, right? All right, well, very cool. Can't wait to see you guys produce. I will see you guys around. Be safe.